Hey, I'm Pops, and guess what? $13 million, over $13 million, technically. Heritage auction wrapped up with an incredible. I mean, it's hard to believe we're in an economic downturn right now with this many. There's only like 1,000 lots. I mean, there's so many records that were broken in this auction. It's insane. So this is the press release. There'll be a link in the description. You can go through the whole thing. There's no way for me to do it justice. There's so many things that we could focus on. There's the famous cover that's there. This X-Men '98 cover with Storm and Colossus and Cyclops and all. That's one of Dave Cochran's early works here. Just it's amazing, and it went all the way up to over $400,000. That's right. Let me switch the share so you can see this. This is the original art, the original cover. It is mind blowing. Of just beautiful. $400,000 piece right there. $400,000. That's wow. So yeah, the auction went crazy. Just to give you a couple of other things here. Quote, time and time again, new records are realized. Page 17, the second issue of Claremont, Frank Miller, and Joe Rubinstein's Wolverine miniseries, a limited series. So it's page 17 with $156,000. It's definitely the biggest and most expensive piece Miller's done of Logan. Bob Layton's original Secret Wars 7. It's got Captain America, 3 of the X-Men. There's a page that went. It's original cover art of Secret Wars 7, 132. Let's see. Original art also happened. George Perez. And there's a cover of Fantastic Four 184 that went for over $100,000. That's this one. Full beautiful cover here with the Fantastic Four facing the Eliminator. So that's that went for over $100,000. So yeah, Flash. There's a Flash copy. We'll get to the Flash copy. There was Frank Frazetta artwork. Those kinds of things are on display there as well. Let me pull up a couple more images because one of them is one that I have talked about a couple times on streams, actually just here recently. But this is it's sort of hard to believe there are copies that are in this nice a condition, which is why they go for so much money. So this Batman issue, this Batman issue is number 44. This Batman issue sold for so this is just a photo. The actual version is a CGC graded copy, 9.0, which is the lowest of the near men's, right? So yeah, we all talk about 9.8s or whatever, but imagine this book is a 9.0. So it's a near mint copy. It's a near mint book from 1947, sold for $33,600. By far the most ever for this book. Wow, that's beautiful though. Beautiful. I mentioned a couple other things that sold. This is one that is a Phantom Lady number 5. Now, Phantom Lady dates back to comic codes, a 10 center. So notice there's a 10-cent cover, but there's no comic code on it. There's a version of this that sold. This sold at auction for $30,000. And again, it's a 5. It's not even like super, super high end, and it sold for $30,000. Here we go. Flash number 1. It was graded a 5.0. This is not the one. This is not the one that was an auction. It's just a photo that I found. It also soared up to $192,000 for a 5, which is, again, this is a huge key book, right? Obviously, there's Jay Garrick right on the cover, but you have other first appearances, including Hawkman as well, Carter Hall, tons of stuff. It's a huge, super key book, and actually kind of underpriced when you think about other characters of that era. And I think it's because they've changed the Flash so dramatically, but still, $192,000. It's crazy. There's Captain America issues that have sold for like $50,000 or whatever. I want to get to this one. Oh man, look at this book. This is literally the book, the one that they used in the hearing. So if you go back and you look at the comic code hearings, and they're waving a comic book around, This is the one that they're waving around. This is a Crime Suspense Stories 22. It's definitely part of history. Like, it's one of the most influential books because of the comic code. A 9.0, a near mint copy of this, sold for $72,000. Which, got to be honest, in a lot of ways, it's kind of underpriced. Compared to some of this other stuff, that's crazy. But yeah, no, this is the Williams Gaines, cross examination during that EC Comics. Basically, the thing that led us to the comic code. So that's why this is definitely one of those that's just incredibly important in comic book history. Okay, here was a cool one. I went and found a copy of this. This is not the one that went up for auction. The one that was up for auction is an 8.0, so just below near mint, very fine plus. This is actually a Buck Rogers cover. This is Famous Funnies, 10 center, $215. This is Buck Rogers, but that is Frank Frazetta artwork, believe it or not. It's beautiful, isn't it? Frank Frazetta, look at that octopus, man. The detail and all these different things. It's just a beautiful book. It sold for over 10 grand, went up for $10,800, which is interesting because the highest previously, when I looked it up, the previous high was in the neighborhood of just under 4,000 just a couple of years ago. So Frank Frazetta stuff may be obviously taking off is an understatement when it comes to his stuff anyway. But yeah, this caught my eye that we had so many books that just went for some crazy numbers. So yeah, there's another Frazetta Famous Funnies. It went for 2,500, over 2,500. That was a 7.5. There was a 7.0 of 215. It also went for a little over 3,000. There's a first Mickey Mouse comic book. It was 4-color, number 16. It went for it was an 8.5. It went for over $57,000. Let's see. The first appearance of Penguin, it was a 4.5, sold for $6,600, which is nearly double what those lower grades normally go for. So normally, I think the last time something like that sold was about 3-4 years ago, and it sold for like half that. Similarly, Amazing Spider-Man number 2, which is the first appearance of Vulture. So Amazing Spider-Man number 2, that one sold for an 8.5, sold for $21,600. So again, in only like 3 years, or 2.5 to 3 years, it has gone up by it's double the price or more. Another Frazetta. So there's another Frank Frazetta piece that would be 209. It sold for $6,000. It was a 9.4. A 9.4. Beautiful. That's incredible. A 9.4. So yeah, you can go to that link. I sent you that put that link in the description for you. It does have a lot more information about some of the things are hyperlinked, and you can see some of the prices. I think you have to be a member to their site to get into like some of the intricate details. But there's tons of books, thousands of dollars. Oh, here's one that was a Wiz number 1, which is the Captain Marvel, the famous first appearance of Captain Marvel. It's a 3.5. A 3.5. Kid you not. And that one sold for $120,000. And then in 2021, that was going for about $70,000 at that grade. So that book has taken off like crazy. Again, it's a 1940 book. I mean, how many high-end books are there? I mean, how many books are there, let alone how many are graded at these higher levels? Let's see. An Amazing Spider-Man number 19, the one where he's swinging directly at the camera, that is a 9.8. Someone has a perfect 9.8 is considered perfect, because a 9.9 and a 10 is like a unicorn. They just don't really exist. They're very, very rare. And the older the book, they're probably not even out there. Anyway, so that Amazing Spider-Man 19 sold for $15,600. Let's see. A Batman 208 is a 9.8 that sold for $5,500, which is nearly double its last sale. An Archie Annual number 1, 7.5, sold for over $7,000. Here's your one. An Avengers number 8. So this is Kang. The first appearance of Kang is in Avengers number 8. So obviously we know Kang is a hot topic right now. The 9.4 sold for $14,400. So it's about 40% more than last time. It sold for $10,000 a couple years ago. A Black Knight number 1, because they've added the Black Knight to the MCU. So the original Black Knight Marvel issue, that's the one where he's on the horse. That is from 1955. That's Stan Lee wrote that one. That sold for $16,000, and it was only like a couple years ago. It was only like $12,000, so it's gone up by again 30 to 40 between about 40%. Let's see. More. There's just everything is through the roof. Okay, so here's one that's beautiful. I cannot believe this. This is insane. Someone has a 9.2 Amazing Spider-Man 15. So this is the original Spider-Man. A 9.2 sold for $810,000. So that's up from almost $600 like 3 years ago. So that's like 35%. So that book has gone up 35% in 3 years. Whoever had that book made 30% more than they would have if they bought it in 3 years ago. Let's see. All-Star Comics number 3. So it's the first appearance of the JSA. It's a 3.0. It went up from 11,000 to 14,000 in 3 years. Second appearance of Captain America. That's number 2. It went up from 20,000 in 2020 to 25,000 at that grade. A Fantastic Four number 9, which is the third appearance of Submariner. A 9.2 went up $1,000 from 2011. That's the last time one of those moved at that price point. Okay, here's Batman number 1. So the first Batman number 1. This is a 6, and a 6 has sold for $552,000. There's no real data on that grade recently. A 9.4 sold for $2.2 million. So yeah, that book is people have caught on. Sensation. Number 1, which is the second Wonder Woman. That's a 6.5 sold for $84,000. So of course that pushes the higher grades even significantly higher than that. So you get an idea. The Heritage is where a lot of these like super high-end books go. Oh, here's a Judge Dredd. So for the other Judge Dredd fans, a 2000 AD number 2, which is the first appearance of Judge Dredd. A 9.4 sold for $14,400. So the last price on any of those books was about $8. So it's nearly doubled in price. And that is not a super old book. That's just a harder book to find. So that's from 77 because it came out right before Star Wars. The other Phantom Lady sold it was a 9.0. I mentioned the 17. 16 also sold, but it sold for $12,000. Let's see. Going down the list of the results. A lot of things don't have charts or previous sales, so they're like grades that we haven't had before. But yeah, the numbers are just incredible. Like it's crazy. So you guys tell me, did you like going through this? Was this something that you would like me to do and do more often? Because I do get these alerts of when some of these auctions get done and kind of what some of the prices go for and things like that. Not that I'm trying to encourage anybody to grade or sell or anything like that. Just an informational. It's kind of a fun topic. Maybe you have a few of the books. Maybe, if you need some advice or help or whatever, I can do what I can try to do, but who knows? So anyway, thanks for your time. I'm Pops, and I love hearing your thoughts and comments.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing